Hello and welcome. It's The Chat. I am Manny. My guest on the program is really an amazing person, and you'll find out in just a moment.
Ivor Ekpe is a media entrepreneur, marketer and concepts developer, and the CEO Gradient Hill Limited, a concepts development, media and communications marketing company. He is an indigene of Cross River State who attended St. Gregory's College, Ikoyi, Lagos for his primary education and Igbobi College, Yaba, Lagos for his secondary education. He went to the University of Lagos where he obtained a degree in psychology. He also obtained a master's degree in Management Information Systems from Cranfield University, UK. Often referred to as Renaissance Man, he has initiated and contributed to projects in technology, telecommunications, media, marketing and hospitality in different parts of the world. He is a member of the original team which set up Nigeria's premier weekly news magazine, This Week, which has evolved into the daily newspaper organization, This Day, and also the founding manager and partner of Tupelo & Green, a company which promotes culinary concepts.
Ivor Ekpe is my guest on the program. So it's a pleasure having you. At that time that the newspaper industry was probably growing better. And you were part of This Week magazine.
Correct.
But you were into media marketing.
Yes.
When the others like Ladna, who else was in
the late Pini Jason, Taiwo Obe, Sonola Olumise, Lanre Dewu, Maxim Uzuatu.
Yeah.
We were all part of the original crew that Nduka Baigwen had put together to start what in his ambition was going to be the first full-color international standard glossy weekly news magazine.
Wow.
And that was a wonderful dream that he had, and he succeeded in doing that, and so we were the first.
Right, but that was after your education.
Yes.
I know you went to St. Gregory's College at some point.
Proudly so.
No, but at that time, people usually are confused about what they want to do.
Yeah.
Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do?
I had absolutely no idea. My first degree was in psychology, but that was only because I couldn't get in to be the lawyer that my father always wanted me to be.
Yeah.
But I think I did like psychology quite a bit, and I always said to myself, I'll finish this course and then I'll do the law later on. But then you suddenly discover that it really empowered you in a great many ways, listening to people, speaking to people, understanding better why things happened, and it was a great foundation for me. So it was just a natural progression for me into media. But then again, I do come from a family of media personalities. My late mother, for one, and the whole generation of the NTA old girls at the time. So,
who are you referring to? NTA old girls?
Oh, the old girls, you had people like Christina Stallings, you had people like, Auntie Julie Coker, that whole, the late Elsie, Elsie Olushola, our wonderful Auntie Amebo, Ibino Allison today. So they were all one pack of, I would have called them now, I'll refer to them as the Brat Pack of their time, whether they were newscasters or actors or actresses, those sort of people.
Well, did they influence you in any way?
Yes, I think it's easy to point out that these were a generation of women who also insisted on one fundamental thing that went through them, and I'm possibly I can possibly say with confidence that you will find it in all their children. They always insisted that you spoke properly. They always insisted on language, on projection, on talking, and they built an awful lot of confidence in us that we could walk anywhere and talk to anybody at any level. Something we've hopefully carried through.
How long did you work in This Week? Was it Newsweek?
Oh, this week we started it from inception, and in the first few years, as it was famously known at the time, we were on Ogulano Drive. I'm not sure whether people realized it was a news magazine office or a fashion design office.
But you know what? We'll still talk about where we are. It's a creek side, and my best memory of the creek side and the rest of this Awolowo Road was residential.
Absolutely.
Now you can't find a residential home.
No, you can't. No, you can't. A lot has changed. A lot have changed. We were over on Ogulano Drive. That's where we started.
I mean, I know you're from Cross River State. Did you always grow up in Lagos? Or
I am completely a Yoruba boy before I'm even an Efik boy. I was born in Ibadan and brought up in Lagos.
Really?
All my education was in Lagos.
And so you speak all languages? Or
well, I speak enough to get into trouble and to get out of trouble.
Out of trouble. Which one gets you into trouble?
All of them do. The Yoruba, in Lagos, the Yoruba gets me out of trouble very, very easily.
Really?
Yeah.
I sympathize with you.
I know. I feel sorry for myself sometimes.
So how long did you work in This Week?
This week, I believe that if I remember well now, I think it was 1985, 86 that we call him the Duke, came up with this wonderful concept, and I will never forget the first day. He gathered us in some flat in Victoria Island, and we all showed up, and we were like, oh, you're here, and you're here, and you're here. Excuse me, why are we here? And he revealed this wonderful Time magazine-like, ambition of a magazine, and boom, there he was. And then from that little office, which was more like the brainstorming center, we moved on to Ogulano Drive, where the first office was. Now, and because we printed abroad, and that was the other thing unique at the time, and the whole task was getting all of that together, getting the dummy together and getting out to be able to print and come back into, onto the stands for Monday morning. We did that for a few years. Then I moved on to the UK to actually continue that process from London, because we were printing somewhere just outside London.
Forgive me for mixing up the dates.
Yeah.
You stopped working in 1981, didn't you?
Oh, that's further down the line. Yeah, I stopped working for anybody in 2001.
Okay,
2001.
All right. Okay.
1981, I was still at the University of Lagos. I stopped working for anybody in 2001. And that in 2001 was when I returned from my sojourn everywhere else back to Nigeria.
Where were you? Where were you sojourning? You were in America?
Yes.
In the UK?
Was in America for a few years. I tend to crack this joke that my first child, my son, was made in America, but he was born in England. Yes, I lived in America for a few years in Atlanta. I did a variety of things. I think just subsequent to all of this, I had discovered that I could create things. I could make things happen. I could take an idea to reality. So you might find it interesting that I used to own the largest black hairdressers in Atlanta, which I created.
What was it called?
It was called Hair Trends.
Hair Trends.
Trends, yes.
Okay, so you did that after your newspaper experience, magazine experience.
Newspaper, banking and marketing, moved on to America for a few years, then came back to the UK, obviously when my son was born. And I realized that, well, they weren't coming back to America, so I moved back to the UK.
Okay, so you were also once in South Africa, weren't you?
Well, obviously somebody's been watching me. I have no idea. You see, Manny, I'm a bit nomadic. I'm the sort of bohemian free spirit that, you can drop me somewhere. As long as I can eat the food there, I may like the people, I may understand the language. Come back in 5 years, you'll find me there.
In your time in South Africa, you
Yeah.
never experienced any xenophobic attitude towards you, did you?
I didn't. Certainly not what we've experienced in the last few years.
So what do you think?
How do I think? And
What do you think is responsible for it?
responsible for it? I think it's a combination of things. Look, anywhere in the world where what is called racism and xenophobia takes place, you always fundamentally find certain things that are common threads. Let's understand one thing. Those migrants come to these places for a purpose. So you tend to find that they're more aggressive, they're more driven. They pursue whatever their objectives are, be it work, be it business.
While you were doing all of this,
Yeah.
traveling all over the place, where was your family?
Now, family, immediate married family, immediate family
Now,
of
don't
birth.
confuse me. Just tell me exactly what it is. Just tell me. You have a wife?
Not at the moment, no, I
Okay.
don't. I did at
You
a
got rid
time.
of her?
Well,
Or she got rid of you?
I think it's more appropriate that she got rid of me, yes.
Okay.
That's what you probably tend
You're
to
not
find.
good at it then?
I don't seem to have a very good record with the whole marriage thing, but I'll try it again very soon.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people say I'm a sucker for punishment, but then, hey, we all have our downsides, don't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah, up till 1981, I was married.
How many children are there?
That I'm aware of, that I have been told. Nobody has come to knock on the door for anything else, but there are two from my...
That's not a lot.
there are two from my marriage, and there is one subsequently, yes.
Tell
Untrue.
me, you are, the CEO of Gradient Hill.
Yes.
What does that represent?
Gradient Hill represents developing those strategies, trying to use all the skills that I have talked about in creating something or delivering a concept either for self or for clients. And that's what Gradient Hill essentially does. It deals mainly in the intellectual realm of concept delivery.
Let's even look at Lagos, where you've
Yeah.
lived literally all your life.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of legislations changing the face of Lagos.
Yes.
And most recently, is it the state government that stopped the operators of motorbikes and the
Motorbikes,
rest
yes.
of it?
I think we have to take this, first of all, from what was not done, which should have been done, which placed us where we were, and the consequences of that. On the one hand, you could look at the hazards of having an unregulated, uncontrolled, unidentifiable collective of motorbike riders for any reason. You can look at the safety issues, you can look at security issues, you can look at nuisance value. All of this because there wasn't regulation. Now, and these numbers grew so quick, as most things in Lagos do. And if you don't control it at a certain time, it becomes a burden. The issues of traffic and the problems we had with robberies. So you could look at security on the one hand. On the other hand, you could look at livelihood. You could look at people, it being a source of people feeding themselves and families and income. But you have to strike a balance and say to yourself, what's our priority right now? Safety of the larger population?
Pick a question.
All right. This is the exciting part where I pick a question that I'm compelled to answer.
That's the rule.
Right.
Not more than one.
There's just the one. It seems a rather long one.
Well, can you read this out?
Oh, this is pretty easy. It says, having been in the media business for a long time, will you want your child to join the force?
Oh.
I think so. And incidentally...
Wanting to join the media? Or the military?
Oh, the force being the military or the force of the media force?
The military.
The military. Ah, now that's a different slant. I think so. I think I would not, I wouldn't mind it. For one thing, I think we are in the realms of requiring discipline as a people. The world is moving; it's becoming way too liberal.
Is that what you find in the military?
That's what I look towards a military system for: discipline, orderliness, believing in a structure and a hierarchy. Those fundamental pillars that make military academies and military forces thrive. Now, it's a different argument if you're saying, where will that military be? Should it be in Nigeria? Should it be in America? Should it be anywhere? But fundamentally, in search of basic foundations for discipline and order and recognizing and respecting structure, yes.
What about the media? Would you ever let him join the media?
I think that is a no-brainer for me. And incidentally, my son, he walked away from studying a highly crafty computer security course and went into journalism because he wants to be on radio.
Oh, really?
Because it marries more with a natural talent. He has a great voice. And he has greater affinity for social things. So the whole radio personality thing. So yes, of course, without question.
And then there was also, is it Natasha Akpoti, the young, exciting lady that contested
in Kogi?
In Kogi?
Yes.
What connection do you have with her?
Well, incidentally, I have none. I pointed her out to my audience as potentially and a good example of how to go about attaining leadership rather than sit back and run all negative commentary that you can find, which doesn't help anybody. Step into it, and I liked what she was doing. The one thing we lack is the participation, and we lack the participation at the level it matters most, which is impacting the lives of the people at the grassroots level. Now, Natasha did that, and being the age she is, I pointed out to everybody that whatever we do, we need to encourage her and people like her.
But come on, did you start taking up a career in writing, for the sake of it?
No, it was actually out of boredom. Okay. Boredom. People always say that, oh, you talk very well. And I tend to tell them I write much better than I speak. I tend to just put my thoughts down. I have my own opinions. I don't need anybody to instigate them or urge me. I give my opinion as I see it, as neutral as I can be. And luckily for me, dare I say, it caught on. A lot of people gravitated towards my consistent writing. At one time we had an online platform called Debate and Review, which was debate all the subject matters that everybody was talking about or review a decision that has been made. All of that was born out of my writings on social media, Facebook primarily.
Did you ever make any contributions about the insecurity in the country?
Yes.
What did you have to say?
I have been privileged to somehow be pretty close at a certain time to those in leadership. So I may well have a different insight, which informs my opinion as to what the insecurity is, why there is, what's behind it, potentially. But I tend to have a broader view. Insecurity in the country is a mishmash of all sorts. There's a lot of opportunistic, activities going on. There's a lot influenced by politics and politicians. There's a lot of territorial warfare going on. But when we talk about this, we tend to cloud everything under one heading or the other. For instance, something happens, then it's Boko Haram. But it's only Boko Haram when Christians are killed. But what about when Boko Haram were killing Muslims? all the way up north in their early days. If it's something we don't understand, then it's herdsmen. You know, which herdsmen are we talking about? Are we talking about militias and marauders? Or we're talking about actual cattle herdsmen that we see, little boys carrying sticks or men carrying sticks and walking for miles? Now, I was also privileged to be in Ghana for a few years, and they had exactly the same problem. Now, the Ghanaian government took a decision, even up to a shoot-on-sight policy, until they got together with the Fulani herds communities, who were complaining that, look, this is not us. Right across the Sahel, across West Africa, you had these marauders, but using the freedom that has been accorded the Fulanis of moving around under that cover. But you see, our problem, and why we haven't been able to get to the root of this, in my opinion, is that the minute something happens, we have a heading for it. And once we put it on that heading, that's what it is. It doesn't allow us to look anywhere else.
Have you seen a solution to this problem?
Have I seen a solution? You see, it's actually very difficult, like the issue of terrorism anywhere in the world. The point is, the issue of terror sooner or later gets out of hand. Then the realization will be, you have to come to the table at a certain point and agree not to fight.
We cast you away for 10 days.
A lot of people have tried that, though.
Right?
Just to cast me
you
away.
have 5 items to take along with you. No human.
5. No human. I must have communications, and meaning I must have a telephone and I must have a laptop.
Yeah.
Something to engage the rest of the world with. I can do without food for a couple of days.
Okay, so what else would you need to carry on?
What will I need to take on? I'll take a basketball with me. Pair of shorts.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have a drink that has sugar in it.
Why? Are you lacking sugar?
Well, sometimes I do suffer from hypoglycemia, you know, low blood sugar.
Oh, well.
Sometimes it drops. I will take the pictures of my children with me.
Are you looking at getting married again?
Oh yes, I am a sucker for punishment, some have said.
You see that as punishment?
I
you
like
see that as punishment?
No.
What do you think about the
not.
Nigerian woman?
Ooh, oh boy. I think the Nigerian woman is totally, completely different from a whole collective of women. Let's even just stay in Africa. I think based on how she's been brought up, based on her experiences to the Nigerian woman, there's a certain picture of the Nigerian woman we have. We tend to think they're tough. I don't think they are at all. I think they're softies with a hard veneer in front, but you find that the veneer is defensive. You know, because they've been brought up to say, right, wait, hold on, stop there. Now,
So in going for another wife, is this still Nigeria or are you looking elsewhere?
Nigerian, of course. One thing I have come to realize is that after a certain age, people actually make a mistake as to what a Nigerian man or a man is looking for. For me, after a certain age, all you're looking for is peace of mind. Seriously. And whoever provides that is the person that you will keep or stay closest to. You go through your 20s, 30s, 40s, you're looking for all sorts of things. You know, you start from the physical, then you're chasing money, then you're chasing a career, ambition. But I think for most men, and which we don't talk about, is once you go past 40, 45, you tend to realize that the most important thing for you here on end is just peace of mind. And whoever provides that, you know, meaning a partner or even children or family, they're the ones that you hold, and you tend to move away naturally from anything that's not giving you peace of mind. So, greatest feature, just give me peace of mind.
Okay,
Easy.
Thank you very much, Ivor Ekpe. It's been
Manny,
fun talking to you.
Wonderful, same here. Thank you.
See you some other time.
Thank you for having me.
It's been The Chat. I am Manny. See you next time. The Chat is produced by Channels Television. You can watch it again online. Just visit our social media platforms: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.